News WFTV tonight.
We are heading into week 3 of in-person classes at many Central Florida schools and universities, and this could be the turning point for many places. Good evening. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Martha Sagowski.
And I'm Greg Wormuth. Health experts said that they expected to see more cases this week. We want to help you understand why and give you more than just the numbers tonight. We're looking at reported cases at universities, the steps they're taking to keep people safe on campus and at sporting events, and where we stand at Central Florida public schools.
Let's start our big story tonight with UCF. University leaders are warning the campus Greek community about risky behavior after 3 sorority houses were forced to quarantine this weekend. The university says it's aware that some chapters have had social events that could be super spreaders. It's an issue administrators are worried about off-campus too. Look at this video. It was taken at University House, an off-campus student housing complex. You can see the pool area packed with people this holiday weekend. Megan Cruz is live for us at UCF tonight. Megan, do we know exactly how many sorority members tested positive so far?
You know, Martha, I've asked, but I haven't gotten that answer from the university yet. But it did tell me which 3 sororities we're talking about. You can see Zeta Tau Alpha right behind me, and then the other 2 who've been asked to quarantine, Kappa Alpha Theta and Alpha Epsilon Phi.
We saw no one go in or out of either the Zeta Tau Alpha, Kappa Alpha Theta, or Alpha Epsilon Phi houses Tuesday evening. All 79 women of these 3 UCF sororities ordered to quarantine for 2 weeks after the university said a small number of their residents tested positive for COVID-19. I asked for the exact number and details of what happened, but haven't heard back yet. But a letter UCF sent to its Greek community Saturday suggested events might be to blame. It said, in addition to the events related to these quarantines, it seems other chapters have had social events that increase the risk of spreading COVID-19 to other UCF community members, friends, and or family members. And to its entire school community, UCF wrote, as we return from Labor Day weekend, we are aware that some students chose to ignore university policies and health measures and attended large gatherings while not wearing face coverings and not physically distancing. Videos like this one surfaced this weekend from an apartment complex near UCF. UCF says students who host social gatherings on or off campus that violate COVID-19 guidelines could be suspended or even expelled. Sorority members have been told to stay in their rooms as much as possible while under quarantine for the 2 weeks. Whenever outside of their rooms, like to answer the door if they ordered takeout, must wear a face covering and stay 6 feet away from others. Right now, the Orange County Department of Health is investigating to determine if more people need to quarantine.
I didn't know this housing also have a staff. They have a chef, they have a maid, and they have other individuals that come and do repairs. So we have to track all that.
When asked if any fraternities have positive cases yet.
Not that we know. But if they behave the same way, it will be a matter of time.
Now, UCF is urging people to call its integrity line if they know of a student or staff member who has violated the university's COVID-19 policies. Again, remember, on campus or off. We've posted that number with this story on our website if you need it. And remember, when you call, you don't have to leave a name. Martha?
Now, Megan, what about the residents who tested positive? Will they be quarantined together in each of their sorority houses, or are they going to be sent home?
Yeah, I was wondering about that, too. So according to UCF's website, it says that a student who tests positive would either be asked to go home if possible or would be moved to an isolation room. But again, Martha, in this case, we don't know how many students have tested positive so far. And so we also don't know what has happened in each of those cases, whether or not they did choose to go home or if they are now in isolation rooms on campus.
Well, we know you'll stay on top of the story. Megan, thanks.
Just to give you some perspective, there are 411 confirmed student cases out at UCF. FSU, meantime, has more than double at 839. The university sent out a letter asking people to be responsible off campus. FSU says it does not plan to pivot to remote learning. The university recently decided not to allow tailgating, but is still allowing fans into the stadium up to 25% of its usual capacity. Now, UCF also allowing some fans back, and if you're one of the people allowed into the stadium, here are a few things you need to know. Capacity, again, also at 25% of the stadium. There are 3,000 student tickets available through a lottery. The other tickets will be available for season ticket holders only. Everyone will need to wear a mask throughout the entire game.
All right, now let's take a closer look at some of our local public school districts. We want to start with Osceola County. 25 students and 11 staff members have tested positive for COVID-19. Ashley Edlin watched tonight's school board meeting. She's showing us what parents and teachers say their biggest problems were the first few weeks of school.
It's been an interesting 2 weeks.
All right, thank you, Ashley. In Orange County, we're learning more about the cases that forced Olympia High School to pivot to launch ed. Health officials told us today that some of the 6 positive cases reported at the school are connected to a birthday party. 13 students total were connected to that birthday party, but not all of them have tested positive. 19 teachers were asked to quarantine as well, which played a big part in the decision to close the school this weekend. The district was not sure it could get enough substitute teachers.
Well, many parents decided not to go with the county's learning options, instead opting for the state's virtual school program. New enrollment numbers show districts across Central Florida have lost thousands of students. Orange County, the largest district, is taking the biggest hit. And now Darlene Jones is asking the superintendent how it will impact the district's budget.
Again, Darlene Jones reporting there. Up next, we're taking a closer look at the economic impact COVID-19 will have on our local economy.
Yeah, we're looking at what this weekend's boost in business will mean long term and who is hurting the most, plus some resources available for people who need help right now. Tommy.
Smack dab, we are in the middle of a rainy weather pattern. I'm updating tomorrow's downpours and more on the record tropics.
So this is really a global crisis, right? And you hear all these things coming in, and I think it just feels really overwhelming. And that's where we come in. That's our job, is to give you the knowledge you need, to give you the support you need, because it's what are you going to want to know today? What's coming up later this afternoon? And so whatever comes our way, whether it's a hurricane or a pandemic or these economic hardships that so many people in our community are going through, I just take that energy in, and that's how I deliver the news every day.
The theme park saw a big boost in business this holiday weekend, as you can see behind me. This is what the crowd looked like at Universal Orlando, as you can see also. I'm here with Alexa Lorenzo tonight. Alexa, the crowd has big implications for our local economy, of course.
Yeah, absolutely, Greg. The experts over at UCF's Rosen College of Hospitality Management say it sure does. They expect this crowd is mostly made up of people who maybe just drove here from South Florida or Gainesville, but they do say some of them may have come from different states.
That was Alexa Lorenzo reporting. Walt Disney World, meantime, announced it is canceling some of its holiday events this year, including the popular Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. This comes after the resort canceled its Halloween events earlier this year because of the pandemic, of course. And today, Disney said its Christmas party at the Magic Kingdom and the Candlelight Processional at Epcot would not happen this year. Also, Cinderella Castle will not be decorated with dream lights like in years past. Disney did say the parks would be decorated for the holidays and special food and merchandise would be sold starting November 6th.
Well, the theme parks are just one piece of this puzzle. Across the country, half of all hotel rooms are empty. Here in Central Florida, the vacancy rate is closer to 70%, the highest in the continental United States. Thousands of workers who were furloughed in March have still not been given called back. And as Christopher Heath shows us, the industry that was hoping to return to normal by the fall is now eyeing the year 2021. Orlando City Council approved a new way for businesses to get more people in the door. It's called a parklet. It allows restaurants to set up seating in on-street parking spaces to give folks an extra place to eat and social distance. Businesses that want to participate will need to submit an application for their parklet. Well, the city of Orlando also now has a program to help families impacted by the COVID-19 crisis. The city is partnering up with United Way to help people who may have missed a rent payment. The request for applications will be live on the United Way's website tomorrow at 8 a.m. We will put a link up on our website, WFTV.com. And in Seminole County, commissioners approving millions of dollars in CARES Act money to help organizations get through the next few months. The sheriff and the clerk's office received $5 million. Another $1 million set aside for nonprofits. The county is also working on a way to make more money available for individual rental and utility assistance programs.
Florida counties recently got a letter from Governor Ron DeSantis asking for details about any potential violations of COVID-19 executive orders. Seminole County officials told us the governor wants to know how many fines have been levied, how many citations have been written, and how many arrests were made. They say no one was arrested in Seminole County. So far, there's no word on why the governor is asking for this information.
Speculation is anywhere from perhaps the governor is going to make his own executive order to maybe impact some of the more draconian measures that some counties have taken, or maybe it's just a survey of what he may want to do. We've had no further correspondence whatsoever to understand what it's about.
Commissioner Zimbauer told us the data may be used to clean up the patchwork between the counties and their own executive orders. Well, the tropics are in a hyperactive pattern right now as we get closer to the actual peak of hurricane season.
Yeah, but we're also dealing with strong rain patterns. Eyewitness News certified chief meteorologist Tom Terry live in Severe Weather Center 9 right now, breaking down both of those for us tonight. Hey, Tom.
Hey there, and good to have you back with us in the studio, Martha. Right now, we've got a front to the north, a storm system not far away. That's going to lead to another active rain pattern coming up for us tomorrow. Future track shows a couple of coastal showers by 2:30. Then we are game on for heavy downpours right near the I-4 corridor, right around 5:30 and towards 7:30 tomorrow. Rain chance tomorrow at 70%. Same for Thursday, and not much better as we head toward the start of the weekend. At least we don't have a tropical system in our near neighborhood. We do have Paulette, Renee, and what could become Sally about ready to move off the coast. Behind it, I just called it Wave, but Teddy would be the next storm. Now, the first two storms, Paulette, Renee, are going to pretty much stay well toward the north, hopefully not bother anybody whatsoever, but it's going to be the next one to come off the African coast could become Sally. That one could go a little bit farther west. But in case you're keeping score, Renee was the earliest we've ever had the R-named storm. Sally, Teddy, Vicky, Wilfred, only 4 storms left. By the way, none of the storms that we're talking about now have ever been used before, because we've never gotten this deep in the alphabet, Greg. We've got Alpha, Beta, Gamma as backups and the rest of the Greek alphabet if we need it. I hope we don't.
Wow. That is running out of time. Hopefully we don't hit any of those, but we'll have to wait and see. Thanks, Tom. 2 major non-COVID stories I want to tell you about tonight as well.
Yeah, coming up, what investigators say caused, look at this explosion that rocked Palm Bay tonight.
Plus, the mystery that still remains after a woman was shot outside her job at Navy Federal Credit Union in Orlando today.
Live today starting at 4 p.m. Channel 9 Eyewitness News brings you the important major local news from across Central Florida. With context, we dig into the coronavirus's latest impacts on schools, your health, and our economy. Plus, Central Florida's chief meteorologist Tom Terry is constantly updating the latest forecast and tracking storms across our area. Watch anchors Vanessa Eccles, Martha Sagowski, and Greg Warmouth today live at 4, 5, and 6 p.m. Channel 9 Eyewitness News. Coverage you can count on.
We want to make sure you don't miss any of the other big stories from the day, and we have a major update in the death of a woman outside the Navy Federal Credit Union along Millennium Boulevard. Tonight, Orlando police tell us that the victim is 27-year-old Barbara Tomey. They say her husband, Sylvester Ofori, shot her outside the credit union where she worked. Her husband has been arrested and is now facing charges.
All right, we want you to take a look at this. State investigators are now looking at a Palm Bay chemical plant after this explosion. You can see just how thick that cloud of smoke was this morning near US 1. Fire officials telling Channel 9 there was a refrigeration issue and some flammable solvents caught fire that sparked that explosion that rocked the area.
I've never heard something like that.
And I never felt fire.
And I felt it. Yeah, I felt it. We could feel. I was sweating. It was so I could feel the flames from that plant at my house, and I'm probably 2 streets away from the plant.
The good news in all this, no one was hurt. The Florida Department of Environmental Protection will see if there are any safety issues that need to be addressed or if this caused any environmental damage. Well, nationally, the wildfires in California are burning out of control tonight. The Creek Fire, look at this, has already burned more than 143,000 acres of land and destroyed entire neighborhoods. Since this weekend, more than 200 people were pulled from those fires by helicopter. Those rescue missions were done in high winds and near zero visibility, requiring night vision goggles.
The smoke's been so thick that the pilots don't have a visual of the terrain to land safely or to identify the locations where the evacuees are.
Well, there are at least 25 major fires burning across the state right now. Almost 14,000 firefighters are responding to these fires.
Wow, that's an amazing video. We have an update for you on a story we brought you tonight at 6. Why the Central Florida senior is feeling Central Florida strong again tonight.
Doppler line radar is driven by Toyota Orlando and Toyota Claremont.
There is a push for more diversity in the federal agencies that oversee America's banking systems. Today, lawmakers in Washington questioned the departments about their efforts to make sure women and people of color are represented at the highest levels. The goal is to make sure minority communities are not forgotten when it comes to major financial decisions that affect the public. The agencies say they have ramped up their efforts to target minorities for recruitment, and they've increased financial help for minority-owned companies.
A Sumter County senior is staying Central Florida strong tonight after she finally got a chance to video call with her husband.
These mean so much to everyone, both the patient and, of course, the loved one. And she hadn't been able to see him in weeks. The Wildwood resident called us here at Channel 9 after her husband of 47 years was moved to Kindred Hospital, Ocala. She said staff would not help her place a video call because her Android phone did not support FaceTime like an Apple iPhone. She had this.
Just tell your family members that you love them each time you see them. Because, you know, stuff happens. You know, just make sure they know.
Absolutely. An hour after the story aired tonight, we learned the hospital called and set up a video Zoom call for the entire family. And we're waiting for an update on how it went, but we can only imagine that that obviously meant to both of them so much.
She said, Greg, that her husband is the life of the house, and she just wants to show her love to him and make sure that he comes back home soon.
Yeah, because of COVID and everything else, she can't go inside, so that's the next best thing. All right, we're glad that they got to at least have that face-to-face interaction.
Makes all the difference in the world. Nice to be back in with you, by the way, too.
Absolutely.
Face-to-face.
Speaking of which, so 6 feet apart.